Imagine four colossal faces, each standing 60 feet tall, carved into the side of a granite mountain. This isn't science fiction, this is Mount Rushmore. It took 14 years, 400 workers, and over 900,000 pounds of dynamite to blast these presidential portraits into existence. They call it the Shrine of Democracy, a monument built with pure grit and explosive power. But what if I told you there's more to this story than meets the eye? Did you know there is a secret room hidden behind Lincoln's head? Today we're blasting away the myths to uncover the untold story of Mount Rushmore. So, how did this monumental idea even come about? It all started in 1923 with a man named Doane Robinson. He was a state historian for South Dakota, and he had a big idea to attract tourists to his state. His original concept was to carve local heroes into the nearby granite spires called the Needles. But when he brought in the sculptor, Gutzon Borglum, things changed. Borglum, a brilliant but notoriously difficult artist, declared the Needles were too thin and fragile. He wanted a grander canvas and a more national theme. He scouted the area and found the perfect mountain, a massive granite face with maximum sun exposure. And why these four presidents? It wasn't random. Borglum carefully selected them to represent the most significant moments in American history. George Washington for the nation's founding, Thomas Jefferson for its growth and expansion thanks to the Louisiana Purchase, Abraham Lincoln for preserving the nation through the Civil War, and Theodore Roosevelt, who represented the country's development and its rise as a world power. Borglum envisioned a shrine that would tell the story of America's first 150 years, a story he was determined to write in stone. Now, let's talk about how you actually carve a 60-foot face into solid rock. You don't just start chipping away with a hammer and chisel. No, you use dynamite. Lots of it. In fact, 90% of the nearly 500,000 tons of rock removed from the mountain was blasted away. The process was surprisingly precise. Workers, known as pointers, would drill a series of closely spaced holes, a technique called honeycombing. Then, they'd place small, calculated charges of dynamite into those holes. The goal was to remove large chunks of granite without shattering the entire mountain. Can you imagine the working conditions? These men were suspended 500 feet in the air in what were called bosun chairs, basically a small wooden seat attached to a 3/8-inch steel cable. They were swinging in the wind, drilling holes, and setting explosives. It was incredibly dangerous work. And mistakes did happen. The most famous one is the Jefferson mistake. Originally, Thomas Jefferson's face was planned to be on Washington's right. They had already started carving when they realized the granite in that spot was weak and full of cracks. What did they do? They dynamited the partially carved face completely off the mountain and started over, placing him on Washington's left. It was a massive setback, but they pushed on. Incredibly, despite the perilous heights and constant explosions, not a single worker died during the entire 14 years of construction, a remarkable safety record for the era. After the blasting got the rough shape, the carvers would use pneumatic drills and hand tools for the finer details, smoothing the stone down to a surface as fine as a concrete sidewalk. Let's take a closer look at the four giants themselves, because the details are fascinating. We'll start with the father of the nation, George Washington. He represents the birth of the United States. Fun fact, his nose alone is 21 feet long. That's taller than a giraffe. Next is Thomas Jefferson, symbolizing the expansion of the country. He authored the Declaration of Independence, and Borglum wanted his placement to represent the importance of the people's rights in the new republic. Then we have Abraham Lincoln, the great emancipator. He was chosen for his role in preserving the nation and ending slavery. If you look closely, you'll notice his head is the furthest back in the rock, nestled deep into the mountain, symbolizing his deep, thoughtful nature and the weight of the decisions he carried. Finally, there's Theodore Roosevelt, the progressive leader who ushered America into the 20th century. He represents development, known for things like the Panama Canal. Borglum was a huge admirer of Roosevelt. A cool detail about his sculpture is the glasses. They aren't fully formed spectacles. Instead, Borglum cleverly carved just the bridge and the suggestion of rims, letting the natural shadows create the illusion of lenses from a distance. It's an artistic trick that works perfectly. All right, let's talk about the secret that's hiding in plain sight. Behind Abraham Lincoln's head, there's a tunnel blasted into the rock. This was supposed to be the entrance to Borglum's grandest vision, the Hall of Records. He planned to create a massive chamber deep inside the mountain to house the most important documents in American history, like the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, along with busts of famous Americans. It was meant to be a time capsule, a story of America for future civilizations to discover thousands of years from now. Unfortunately, funding ran out, and the government told him to focus on finishing the faces. The Hall of Records was never completed. Today, the tunnel ends after about 70 feet. In 1998, a titanium vault was placed inside, containing 16 porcelain enamel panels inscribed with the story of Mount Rushmore and the history of the United States. So, while it's not exactly what Borglum envisioned, his idea of a time capsule did, in a way, come to life. But there's another more complex side to this story. Long before it was called Mount Rushmore, the mountain was known to the Lakota Sioux people as Thunkashila Shakpa, or the Six Grandfathers. It's a sacred site, part of the Black Hills, which were granted to the Lakota people in the 1868 Treaty of Fort Laramie. However, that treaty was broken when gold was discovered in the region. The carving of the presidents on this sacred land is, for many Native Americans, a profound symbol of broken promises and the desecration of their spiritual landscape. It remains a deeply sensitive and controversial topic, reminding us that one nation's monument can be another's painful memory. Gutzon Borglum, the fiery artist who poured his life into this project, never saw it fully completed. He died of an embolism just months before the final dedication in 1941. It was his son, Lincoln Borglum, who took over and saw the project through its final stages. The total cost of this incredible feat of engineering and art was just under $1 million, which is about $20 million in today's money. A surprisingly small sum for such an enduring and iconic landmark. Mount Rushmore is more than just stone. It's a testament to human ambition, artistic vision, and the complex, often controversial tapestry of American history. It stands as a silent witness to the past, sparking wonder and debate to this day. So, what do you think? Is it a masterpiece of democracy or a monument of controversy? Would you visit this place? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into history's greatest stories.